Well, the Red Sox are going to be without star rookie Roman Anthony for the rest of the regular season after it was announced yesterday that the 21-year-old has an oblique injury. Our Dan Roche and Joe Weil discussed the ramifications of that injury and how the team can try and move forward.
All right, Dan, well, the Red Sox are now going to be without Roman Anthony here for the rest of the regular season with an oblique injury. And let's just give some proper context to what the Red Sox are losing right now. In games in which he has appeared in for the Sox, the team is 44-27, and maybe even more impressively than that, since June 28th, Roman Anthony is 6th in Major League Baseball in Fangraphs wins above replacement. He's hitting .329 in this span with a .420 on-base percentage and a .510 slugging percentage. How concerned are you about the Red Sox right now without this guy, Roman Anthony?
Well, I think you have to be concerned, right? I mean, we've talked about it a lot, Joe. He's the face of the franchise now. After they traded Rafael Devers, they brought him up and they've put him right in that leadoff spot, and everyone has seen just how great a player he is and how big of an influence he can have on this Red Sox team from top to bottom. He was a breath of fresh air, I think, for everybody. And, you know, with Marcelo Meyer going out and Christian Campbell still down with Worcester trying to get better and better, this was the kid that is the kind of can't-miss kid that we've talked about a lot. And he certainly has shown that from the time he came up here to where he is now. So he's had a little bit of ups and downs, but there's no question about it. He's had a huge impact on this team. It's a tough loss, a loss for the rest of the regular season, but the Red Sox are still in very good shape when it comes to making the postseason. And I think you and I have talked about that, and maybe the goals got loftier because of how well they've done. But we were talking about if they could just make the postseason and get a taste of it with this young group, that it would be good for them. And I still believe that. Now, you know, a team that's capable of winning the World Series, it's going to be a lot more difficult. But we've seen stranger things, and a friend of mine said last night that, you know, they look at the Red Sox organization. Remember when Jim Rice went down with that injury in 1975 and was lost? They felt their chances were lost, and they took the Reds to within one game of winning the World Series. And then in 1967, Jim Lomborg, you know, he got hurt. So things like that can happen, and, you know, we'll see. But, you know, there's no question about it. Just everything that he brought to that team, it's a big loss.
Yeah, and you talk about where the Red Sox stand right now. They're still atop the AL wildcard standings. They're actually tied with the Yankees right now for that top positioning. So they're in pretty good positioning for the playoffs. And Fangraphs has their playoff odds at a little over 97%. So things are looking pretty good for this group. But you just talked about the ceiling part of this. And it was interesting to hear Alex Cora tell the media that he told Roman Anthony, try to envision at-bats in the ALCS. So that's where the team, at least roughly, expects Roman Anthony to possibly have a chance to come back. If they're going to get there, Dan, to the American League Championship Series, they need Alex Bregman to start picking things up again, because he's gone in this recent funk over his last 12 games, just 5 for 48. How much more important does he become for this team down the stretch?
Yeah, he becomes very important. Your leaders, right? Your veteran players. They certainly need to be the ones that lead the charge down the stretch now in Bregman and Story. And they've been both outstanding all season long. Bregman had that absence with the injury, but beyond that, they've been so good and done so much for this team that they'll need to step up now. So that's a big part of what's going to happen here if the Red Sox are going to make some noise down the stretch and into the postseason. And then I also believe, Joe, that in order to get to where Alex is talking about, the ALCS, and trust me, I have a lot of faith in him when it comes to just making the playoffs and how good he can manage a roster. It comes down to pitching, right? That's going to be the difference now. It'll be Lucas Giolito, it'll be Brian Bayo, and it'll be your guy, Garrett Crochet, having to lead the way. Starting pitching is going to have to lead the way into the playoffs, and for them to make a run in the postseason, with Anthony or not, it's got to be starting pitching.
Well, you just mentioned his name, Garrett Crochet, and Dan, he's been so good for this team. You and I have talked about it all season long. Whatever you hoped Garrett Crochet would be, he has been that for the Red Sox. At the same time, he's in uncharted territories in terms of how many innings he's already pitched this year. He did not look great in his last start against the Guardians. He gave up 4 home runs. What concerns do you have about him as he enters the month of September?
Well, it's the maximum most innings he's ever pitched, right? So that's the biggest thing in one season. But, you know, he signed up for this. The Red Sox have a lot of faith in him. They've tried to help him, you know, at the All-Star break, giving him some extra days and things like that. They may do that down the stretch as well. And I think part of that is psychological, too, with Crochet, because he said it. he keeps getting asked every single day, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? That's not easy when a pitcher, when a lot of it is psychological, right? So I think that he just needs to kind of get over that hump, get himself through that. His velocity is down, but it's not down dramatically. And I just think that that's just part of the learning process here. And if it goes south or what have you, it's a learning lesson for this season, and it'll be tough to win with a Garrett Crochet that is not a true ace. But I think we learned a lot about him, and he learned a lot about himself this season too.
And in his last start, it was interesting. His velocity actually was like slightly up, but what's been happening as the season has progressed is his whiff percentage has gone down every month. So if he can continue or find a way to get that swing and miss that he did, a little bit earlier in the season, which was obviously among the best in baseball, he'll be in a better spot down the stretch. But as you talked about, it is something he's being asked about a ton. He even said his teammates ask about it, and he tells them, listen, I feel really good. But at the same token, he's got 178 in a third innings pitched this year, and last year he finished at 146. So we'll see how it all shakes out by season's end. Let's talk about another hard-throwing left-handed pitcher, and it's a guy that you had a chance to speak to, Dan, and that's Payton Tolle, the rookie who made the start on Friday against the Pirates, and it was Paul Skeens that he goes up against in his Major League debut. But the kid pitches really well. He had 8 strikeouts in over 5 innings pitched. What impressed you the most about Payton Tolle, and what impressed you about what you learned from him as a person when you chatted with him?
I think his mustache was probably the biggest impressive thing to me. It's just how it matched Paul Skeens and kind of that. He had the great facial hair as he went to the mound. And I think he just, to me, he's the guy that just looks like your everyday softball league type of player. And he goes out there and throws his arse off, to have fun with it. And he just does a great job, I think, emotionally. He got the crowd into it. And then off the field, he's a tremendous story that he's had to overcome the loss of his mom, who was diagnosed at the age of 40. Her name is Gina. She was diagnosed at the age of 40 with stage 4 cancer. And she was told she was going to live 3 months, and she lived 8 years. So he calls her his best friend. The Red Sox had a vacant seat for her, along with her brother and her dad, who were both at the game with flowers on it. So it meant a lot to him. And he's just been thinking of her along this journey. So it hasn't been easy for him, but he's had this inspiration. And, I got to laugh when I said, what were you thinking about with your mom when you came off the mound at Fenway? To a standing ovation. He said, she would just be calling me, you're just a hack. So it was just, I love everything about this kid and his story, and he's hard not to root for. And I think hopefully we'll see him continue to, contribute down the stretch. It may be out of the bullpen because, again, he's talked about, there are innings limitations and things like that. This is the most he's ever thrown too. So some of those things to watch, but I just love his story. He's just a good kid, hardworking kid, loves the game, loves his family, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, an incredible story off the field, and I think every Red Sox fan was in touch with the personal side of things, and he pitched so well in his big league debut. And just to add on to that, it's his first professional season. So the fact that he has made his way already to the major leagues is a testament to just how much the Red Sox think of him and how good his stuff is. And the fastball certainly played in that first outing. Not to mention, as he talked to you, he correctly predicted that TCU was going to beat Bill Belichick in that first game against UNC. We'll wrap things up with this, Dan. The Sox, they had a sellout streak of 20 consecutive home games from July 12th to September 1st. And it was the longest sellout streak since 2018. So the fans, they've come back out to Fenway Park, and they came out in a big way during the summer. What does that say to you about the way this fan base is responding to this team?
Well, I think it's a kudos to Craig Breslow, Alex Cora, and the entire Red Sox organization for, doing what they've done, sticking with these kids. And, I think Red Sox fans have bought in to what we've seen from these kids, right? I think that's been the best part. We talk about Roman Anthony being the future face of the franchise. He's the reason why they come out. He's got that young Carl Yastrzemski, Fred Lynn type of look to him. And he certainly shows that he's going to be promising and has the potential to be great for years to come. He's under contract, too. And then I think you saw a very likable team here. Alex Bregman, who just eats, sleeps, and drinks baseball. Yeah, that's the kind of guy you want out there. And from him to Trevor Story to see his comeback too. And Jen, everybody loves Jarren Duran. It's just electric. They held on to him. They probably could have traded him for a number 2 pitcher or what have you at the trade deadline, but they felt like he was, again, one of those guys that they want to build with. So I think there's a lot of faith in this Red Sox team. They like what they see, and I think that's why they've been able to draw so well at Fenway Park. And at Fenway Park, you give them a little bit of love and give them a little bit of faith, and they're going to be there every night intense and making that ballpark electric. And we saw that this year. So hopefully that's a build of a base, and then you see what happens into the offseason, and they get another pitcher or two, and away they go, right? So it's been a fun summer.
It has been, and the Red Sox have been really good at Fenway this year, and hopefully that translates into some home games at Fenway here in October, which would be the first time that's happened since 2021. Dan, appreciate the time as always. Great to talk ball with you.
Same, Joe.